Ist die Präsentation sichtbar? Ja, okay. Excellencies, dear President Fless, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. Each year, the European Association of Archaeologists releases a statement relevant to current questions connecting archaeology with society at large. Our 2021 statement focused on archaeology and climate change. While studying the challenges and opportunities, we came to realize that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, released by the UNESCO in 2016, have relevance to archaeology regarding practically each of the goals. The awareness of these goals is as yet different in various regions. In Great Britain, for instance, each plan or lecture of the British Academy would start with the actual topic by giving its reference to the relevant SDG. Although the colorful etiquettes of the 17 SDGs are shown on the glass walls of the largest German state-owned investment and development bank based in Frankfurt, the visibility of these goals in the continent, including Germany, and specifically in the world of archaeology and heritage management, might not be quite as well introduced and even to a lesser extent absorbed. In certain branches, the SDGs would be on the agenda, but their relevance to the past has not come to light yet. This observation might also involve a plea for a possible update of the SDGs to the UNESCO to realize that almost each of the goals could and should involve the diachronic aspect where archaeology may fill gaps and add the knowledge of historic adaptation, resilience, and creative solutions in human history. Number 13 of the SDGs is about climate change. The EAA will also play its part in responsibly working towards the UNESCO climate change goals. In the next few minutes, I shall give a concise summary of the main parts of the 2021 statement. EAA thoughts and work on climate change are supported by our Community for Climate Change and Heritage, whilst there is a Social Archaeology on Climate Change, or also called SAC, working group, where EAA is a founding and active member. Meanwhile, since I also wear a further hat, one from the Römisch-Germanische Kommission in the DAE, just as Philip mentioned, I shall give examples for tasks to be fulfilled by archaeology by our own projects with climate focuses that we are carrying out under the umbrella of the DAE Groundcheck-Programm. The EAA acknowledges that climate emergency and biodiversity crisis form one of the most profound challenges in our times. The climate crisis transcends political, national, or organizational agendas. Archaeologists must have a moral and ethical responsibility, not simply to react on the impacts on climate change and cultural heritage, but to address climate change in all aspects of their work, regardless of statutory requirements. Archaeologists can provide leadership and act as exemplars in climate action and should take a proactive approach to the climate crisis. Archaeology provides a unique perspective to the interpretation of recent climate and cultural change and provides a vast array of data for the better understanding of the development of and resilience to these global crises. Evidence to date is showing that climate change presents an array of challenges for archaeology, from loss from erosion, fires, sea level rise, to disconnection due to migration and loss to contact of affiliated communities, and damage deriving from conflict and other social changes. If we understand climate change as a whole of society problem, then the field of archaeology alone cannot provide a full understanding of climate change, nor solve all its challenges, but it does have an important and significant contribution to make. The advocacy of archaeologists on local, regional, national, and global levels can play a pivotal role not only in protecting archaeological sites and data from the destruction through climate change, but also in reaching from the past to the present and future. We could summarize these issues in two main themes: challenges posed by climate change to archaeological heritage, and archaeology helps understand. Especially in these critical times, the reflection on past human behavior is important for the self-assurance of human existence. Among the climate-driven forces affecting archaeology, can I see something? It's disappeared. Okay, now. Among the climate-driven forces affecting archaeological sites are coastal erosion, sea level rise leading to inundation, droughts, floods, and drying of soils, including peats, soil erosion, changes in vegetation and biodiversity, permafrost thawing, and glaciers melting, just as we heard in the introduction. Climate change disproportionately affects the world's most vulnerable communities. In times of crisis or disaster, which could include the climate emergency, it is cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible, that brings communities together and enables resilience, cohesion, and hence recovery. Archaeologists should work to understand the full range of impacts of climate change on cultural heritage and its values and its associated industries such as tourism. Some level of loss of cultural heritage is inevitably a result of climate change. Archaeologists and cultural resource managers should create best practices to monitor and mitigate the effects of climate change on archaeological remains and to create an appropriate record of those sites and remains which cannot be saved. The photos in the background are taken analyzing the damage of antique harbors and buildings caused by the rising sea level in the Adriatic near Zadar. In cooperation with the Historic Environments Scotland and the University of Highlands and Islands, the EGK has been working on the island Rousey in the Orkneys. Not only traces of human activity over prehistoric millennia could be documented, but also partly or fully destroyed coastal settlements. Among these, a set of features strongly resembling the famous mainland Orkney World Heritage Site of Skara Brae. This is an important step in reconstructing the impact of climate change at the Atlantic. The second field of possibilities to us is to highlight how archaeology, through the study of past adaptive behavior, is able to enhance resilience of societies as well as their adaptive capacities to current climate change at the local, regional, national, and global levels. Archaeological research deals with people from a wide range of social and temporal contexts, from Paleolithic to contemporary societies. Archaeologists are skilled at reading the landscape, interpreting evidence, and using to tell stories about the past, about how humans changed their environment and adapted or failed to adapt to environmental and climatic conditions and challenges over millennia. As we have just heard at the keynote speech of Professor Laubichler, both successful adaptations and creative solutions and failures with dead ends can help provide guidance to modern behavior. As EAA states, especially in these critical times, the reflection on past human behavior is important for the self-assurance of human existence. Archaeologists can help climate change on a local to global scale by providing evidence and data from the past. Archaeological research can contribute to increasing modern resilience and adaptation through lessons learned by past societies. Within the frames of the project, vulnerability and resilience in prehistoric communities in the Alps, 3,500 years of man-environment interrelations in the UNESCO World Heritage Region of the climate-sensitive Alpine Hallstatt-Dachstein-Salzkammergut region. The RGK joined Austrian partners to investigate questions of prehistoric transhumans and the lifeways of groups exploiting the salt sources. The target is tracing human activity and their changing intensity, demographic booms and busts under changing climatic circumstances. So, my last example for climate research and human-nature interactions is a novel type of source, soil samples that are to be defined as genuine archaeological finds. It is to be stressed that the RGK focuses exclusively on archaeological contexts and is interested in on-site and off-site reconstruction of man and environment relations. With our external partners, we gain the information from the cores via macrobotanical or pollen analysis, fungal spores, human and animal excrement traces, and even through the aDNA analysis of soil bacteria connected to both, in order to reconstruct data of environment, subsistence, diet, pathogens for diseases. The more traces the cores contain, the more intensive the human impact may have been on and around a past settlement. Archiving of drilling cores and soil samples from archaeological contexts have been rather unusual up to now. We are currently storing our samples and we are currently working out the details, criteria for data of sample management. These are the first steps towards an archaeological soil sample archive to be established, and caring for and managing the archive generously donated by Helmut Brückner has been an important step in this process for us in the RGK. So to sum up, the EAA 2021 statement is mostly an invitation for cooperation for archaeological institutions and heritage institutions, museums, universities, civilian associations, to contribute to increasing modern resilience and adaptation through lessons learned by past societies. And EAA seeks ways to translate fundamental archaeological research into actionable science to inform decision-making, as well as monitor climate change as it relates to archaeology and heritage. Thank you for your attention.